Well, that was one fun period of hockey and a fun result, I suppose. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche post-game show presented by Bet365. Rudo here with you. E should be joining us hopefully a little bit later as the Avs defeat the Anaheim Ducks 4-2. All 4 goals from the Avalanche come in the third period in what was a 4 unanswered goal comeback win for the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah, I don't know that there's really a lot to say about the first 2 periods of this game. The Avs clearly entered into this game understanding where they were at as a hockey team, put it to you that way. They knew they were the 3rd seed. They knew that nothing in this game really mattered besides not getting hurt, which they accomplished. Nobody was injured today. And they actually won the game too. So that was fun. A bunch of randos stepped up. I mean, some of them aren't randos. Some of them are. But it was a fun third period to enjoy. I really liked it. It's the most fun period I've watched of Avs hockey since maybe the Columbus game, I'd say. But yeah, a bunch of random guys did work. We were talking about it on the watch along. Realistically, to 10 of the players that were dressed in this game for the Colorado Avalanche might not be in their lineup for game 1 of the playoffs. That includes Wedgwood, so I guess he'll be in their lineup, but will be the backup. So 9 guys probably not going to be dressed for game 1 of the playoffs that were in this game. So that's a fun little fact. Another fun little fact, 49 wins for 49 different players on the season for the Avs. The Avs won a game for every single player that played for them this year. Why not? Why not have a little bit of fun factiness for the Colorado Avalanche in a game like this one? I'm not going to get too analytical or dive too deep into the way anybody played, at least not in the first 2 periods, because again, it just isn't that meaningful in any way, shape, or form. What I will say is if you're looking for positives to take out of this game and into the playoffs, Marty Necas does pick up a 5v5 point on the Avs' first goal. It's only his 5th 5v5 point of the season for the Avs. So maybe that's a little something to spark him. You also get a number of different depth guys involved in points, including Jack Drury, Charlie Coyle, Jimmy Vesey, Logan O'Connor, and your defense picks up a handful of points as well. So it's, if you're looking for reasons to be happy about this one, there are plenty of them. And I don't see any reasons to be sad about this game. So, cool. Good times. Everybody happy with this one. On the side of guys that played well, I think you're looking at most of the Avs played fine to good. I don't know anyone that was truly horrible. Like through the first 2 periods, I really did not like Necas' game, but then in the third period, he was good. So, is what it is. A bunch of cool storylines there that you guys are talking about. We'll get into some of those in a minute here. As far as the Avs are concerned, though, you get, what, a 900 from Wedgwood tonight? Yeah, it's another 900 from Wedgwood. So, solid goaltending. He only gives up 2 goals. You're happy there. Your defense, despite having 3 guys that are not going to play for you in the playoffs most likely, solid. They don't really give up much to Anaheim. And I know Anaheim is not a good team by any stretch of the imagination, especially at this time of year. But there is something that has stuck with me over these last handful of games for the Avs. And it's not that it's super meaningful, because in a perfect world, the Avs would play from ahead and that will be it. But time in and time out, even in these games where they really don't care about them that much, there is a clear downshift in effort from this team. When you still get later into games and when the game isn't out of hand, the Avs still try to win. They still believe they can come back and they still believe that they can get the job done. Now, as of late, sometimes they haven't gotten that job done. Sometimes those comebacks fall short, like against LA the other day. But this one, they converted. It's an important mindset to have if you are an NHL team going into the playoffs, because you're going to have some tough games. You're going to have games that you're battling through, and you're going to have to find ways to come back sometimes. And while the efforts we've seen over the last handful of games won't get them into competitive hockey games in the playoffs, the mindset of, hey, we're still in this game and we can still come back, we can still win these games, that is going to matter. That's something that you need if you want to be a real contender in the playoffs. So I think it's important that the Avs have shown that, and, you know, maybe something a little bit in their back pocket that they managed to come back and win a game like this, even with a lineup that they've had, which is it. Come on, there's like 5 AHLers in this game, right? At least for the Avs. So they still managed to do it with even that. It was a night that was set up to be pretty meaningless for the Avs, and I mean, ultimately, I guess it still is. But you made it fun at very least. You made. Am I going to remember the LA game they lost yesterday? No. Will I remember this as the last game of the season and one that ended up being fun? Yeah, I think it's fair to say this one was certainly more memorable than the last few they've played. So they've got something going for them on that front at the very least. What does that count for? You make your own decisions on that one. For the game itself, I don't know, man. That Ducks team is not very good. We know it. Everybody knows it. I don't know that they're going to be particularly good next season either. It's a team you probably should beat, and they did. So nice. I'm happy with it. I'm really trying to dig around for numbers and find things that I'm like, wow, you guys will love this stat. But there just isn't anything all that interesting from this game. Like, the Avs played 2 periods where they didn't do much, and then they played a 3rd period where they did a ton and came back and won and was great. And the Ducks didn't do anything. So I don't know. We'll just move on from the numbers segment and keep it rolling on forward here. I do think it's interesting how easy it is for Avs to get defensemen to play hockey the way they want to play hockey. And I know Aamodt has been in their system for a while, and EJ had been in their system for years and years and years and has come back, but it just seems so easy for the Avs to get defensemen into their system and immediately have them start jumping up into the play, start getting into the action, finding ways to be effective in Colorado's jumpstart offense, not just by breaking pucks out, but by telling them to get their feet going and get involved even in the offensive zone, to the point where you regularly have guys like EJ going down to the goal line. I think it's obviously a key part of Avalanche hockey, but they have some system set up where it just works. Like, it almost doesn't matter which defenseman you ask to do that. It just works. They're able to do it effectively, and the team is able to adapt around them effectively. It's good stuff. I really do want to give the Avs coaching staff a lot of credit for setting up a system that makes that, 1, so successful, but 2, makes it easy for players to do. I do think that gets underrated a little bit. We talk a lot about how the Avs systems at times are either require a certain type of player or can be very hyper specific, whether you fit into it or not. And I think that is somewhat true of the offense more so, but it really feels like they can make it work with almost any defenseman at any given point in a game or in a season or whatever it might be. It's fun to watch. Maybe that's the most important thing, is when Avs hockey is fun to watch, you're having a good time. It's that simple. I forget that sometimes because this is my job, but at the end of the day, sports are entertainment, and that was entertaining. So good job. Happy for them. happy for me too that this game didn't go to overtime. Maybe the most important goal of the season so far in my life is Charlie Coyle scoring to make sure this game doesn't go into overtime and I don't have to be here until very, very late in tonight. But the reality is, whether the Avs won or lost this game, they knew they were facing the Dallas Stars next weekend in the playoffs anyway. So I guess you can call it a good tune-up for some of the guys on the depth and in the fringes of the Avs lineup. But it's now a different portion of the season for the Colorado Avalanche. They will have tomorrow off, but as the regular season continues to play out, the Avs season is now finished. There are no more regular season games left for the Colorado Avalanche. So it's going to be practice season for the Avs, and that means probably a number of different things. One, you're going to get all of these guys who are injured back at practice, and you're going to have your full lineup back. But two, any problems the Avs have with their way they're playing are going to have the opportunity to sort these things out. I think we've talked about it a decent bit that the Avs really do not practice a lot in season as a hockey team, which is fine. I don't think we have any problems with that. It's just the reality of the grueling schedule that the modern NHL brings when you're playing 3 and 4s all the time. When you have a compacted schedule because of a Four Nations tournament in the middle of the season, everybody is just playing. You don't get that many days off in a row in a season like this. So the Avs have a pretty big benefit of some extra time to work on things. You can have chats about a power play where, I mean, we've talked a lot about it. Natchez has made it better because he makes the Avs move their feet on the power play. You can actually dig into that with a few practices, right? And you can talk about what is working and why it's working. And you can take advantage of things like that. You can take a look at a defense that I think most of the Avs defensive problems more so stem from a lack of effort as of late. This is a team that was clearly trying not to get injured and was not being particularly physical in the slot areas because of that. So a lot of those plays that they've given up in these last few games are them protecting themselves more than an actual defensive issue. But if you do have some issues, like some of the turnovers we've seen, those are things you can also work on in practice. You can get guys making the right decisions. As E likes to say, forming some of those good habits. The Avs should really have an opportunity here to set themselves up for success in the playoffs. I really do think that. So hopefully they have that in the bag and ready to go over the next week as they get to practice while other teams play. The actual lineup, I think, is fairly set, assuming all of these guys are healthy. I don't think we'll see any big surprises in their lineup. The only question really is Gabe Landeskog going to go game 1, or do you think he'll not be ready and might he be held off until game 3 for the homecoming? Because it certainly seems like Landy is coming back. It's just a matter of when. So we'll see. I don't know for sure whether he's coming back. He looked pretty darn good in those Eagles games, which makes me think it might just be game 1, but I'm not his doctor. I'm not in the locker room talking to him, so I don't want to make any guarantees there that I'm not 100% sure about. The rest of the lineup is going to be probably, like, honestly, game 1 of the playoffs is set up to be the most healthy the Avs have been all season, which is kind of mind-boggling, but it's just the way this year has worked out. So I'm just really excited. I think this is about as good a position as the Avs could have put themselves in as a team. Not necessarily by their play or anything, but just the way the year worked out. I think there have been plenty of times this year where you feel like luck maybe hasn't been on the Avs side, or maybe things didn't bounce their way. They seem to have caught a good break with this schedule and with the way their team is shaping up. So take the bounces when you can get them. I'll put it to you that way. That's the way I'll feel about it. On that note, we do have to pay a few bills here. So let's do that. And then we'll get into a little bit more conversation about this game before I really dive into playoff talks. Are we good? Are we ready? Did I miss the bumper?
No,
there
sorry,
it is.
I'm panicking.
We are, of course, brought to you by Monarch Money. Finances can always be messy and confusing. Sometimes the apps play messy and confusing, but you got to work through it. And Monarch Money makes that way easier. It acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. It's basically a financial command center where you can see everything: your accounts, your investments, your goals, whatever it might be. They've got you covered. And you can do more than just manage your money. You can start building wealth by getting 50% off your first year for our listeners. It's the best rated budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal, and it's gotten a ton of 5-star reviews, over 30,000, in fact, by finance app users. So make sure you're getting in with Monarch Money today. Use code DNVR at monarchmoney.com to get control over your overall finances. That's Monarch Money with code DNVR at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. Make sure you're using that DNVR code and letting Monarch Money know that we sent you over to them. Once you've taken care of your finances, make sure you're also getting in with Game Time. Might be tough to get Avs playoff tickets this year. They're not going to be cheap, especially if Landy is coming back for that Game 3. But if you want to find tickets and find the best deal on those tickets, that's where Game Time comes into play. You can download the Game Time app today and use code DNVR when you sign up to get $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. Of course, terms apply there, but be sure to use their Game Time Picks feature, where you can search for certain tickets and Game Time will filter out all the junk. They'll only show you the best tickets for the best prices. Make sure you get in with them that way so you're not sitting in the bad seat or you're not getting scammed on a bad deal. That's why Game Time is the best app for tickets. Join over 15 million people that use Game Time to get their tickets. You can get great deals by waiting until the last minute, or you can find other ways to save, like that DNVR code getting you $20 off your first purchase. Whatever you might need, it's not just playoff tickets too. You can go to just about any sporting event. You can go to concerts. You can go to theaters. You can do it all with Game Time Picks. So use Game Time today. Download the app. Link in the description. What time is it? It's game time, baby. All right. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We've got 3 stars of the game for you for this one. And it's going to be, oh, look at that. It's young Eric Lacroix.
I think he is here. I don't know. He's here. He's logged in, but he's muted himself. But I can't tell if he's doing audio only. So we might have an Eric Lacroix in a second when we figure that out.
Man, he used to look good. Nowadays. Our 3 stars of the game, though. Star number 3 is the entirety of the Colorado Eagles. Not just getting cap ready, but yes, big deal. Like, let's be honest, Gabe Landeskog playing quality hockey is arguably more important than anything the Avs actually did in this game, right? But also, like a good portion of the Avs lineup in this game was Colorado Eagles, and a few of them pitched in very nicely to help the Avs win this game. So the Avs development system in step with their big club organization, getting things done, getting guys ready to play for the Avs, and making for a fun third period. Happy about it. Look at that. He's walking around. He doesn't even know where he is.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at. I've been at the airport like almost 20 hours. So planes, trains, and automobile, buddy.
Tough day.
But
tough day for you.
But you're right. It's when there's call ups like that, and I like your choice of third star there, because it's like some guys might never play a game, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you make the most of your opportunity, and some guys might tonight. Maybe they did, right? Not because you score a goal, or not because just because you have a good show, and all of a sudden you never know when your opportunity is going to come. So yeah, I like it. I love
It's
it.
good stuff.
And I love to see Gabe's face too. I'm not gonna lie. So
always a good face to see. No argument there. Star number 2 is the number 1. Why is it the number 1? Because I can fit 3 players into star number 2 with the number 1. Wyatt Aamodt, first NHL goal of his career tonight. Awesome. You love to see it. He was just talking about making the most of your opportunities. Was it a lucky bounce? Sure. Did he still score one? Yeah. There's a lot of guys who can't say that. And Keaton Middleton. Wyatt Aamodt has one. It counts forever.
It does.
Might tell his kids he went top corner and not off the defenseman's skate, but you know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you went end-to-end rush, put a top cheddar. Nobody asked anything, and all good. You can say, and I'm not saying that's his last one. I'm saying, well, you're right. He scored an NHL goal. How crazy is that? I love it. I love it.
48 hours ago, he couldn't say he'd done that. So now
Yep.
he can. The next number one, Erik Johnson's first goal with the Avalanche since returning. Always fun to see EJ. Yeah, it was an empty netter. Yeah, who cares? When EJ does anything, the vibes are up. All right. EJ is the vibe captain. That's what EJ does. So he captained the vibes by putting in the empty netter for this one and sealing off the game. It always awesome to see the vets and the great guys like EJ getting rewarded for what they do for the Colorado Avalanche.
Yep. And again, you don't ask how it was either, right?
No,
You
of
don't have
course.
to say there was a goalie in the net. You know what I mean? You don't have to tell you. They just say, "Did you score?" Yeah, I scored. It doesn't mean that
Yep.
there's a goalie in the net or not, whether the goalie was bad or. But EJ, you're right. It's the vibes for him. So I love it. I love that he got on the board. I love that playoffs are starting again. We'll talk about it all week long, right? On injuries
Yep.
and
Yeah.
who's going to be in the lineup and all that stuff. But it's great to see the big fella in there.
And then the final number one. Well, first of all, EJ was mistaken for Jack Johnson multiple times by the ESPN broadcast. So not so good a job, ESPN. Do better. I know we get guys' names wrong all the time too, so fair enough. I won't push them too much on it, but Erik Johnson and Jack Johnson don't even look anything alike, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that one. Anyway, the other number one for our second star, Jack Drury, first power play goal as an Av, first power play goal of the season, even if you're including Carolina. So the Jack that actually did the jacking tonight was Jack Drury. Great to see him step up. I think he also had a 2-point night. So
Again,
this is a guy who will be in your lineup. Like, yeah, go ahead.
No, exactly. But it's opportunity, right? Like we talk about all the time. Opportunity. It's not like he's played a lot of power play minutes here. All of a sudden he's on the power play and produces. So there you go.
And guys like that playing that way, filling in roles, shows you that they're ready for the playoffs, right? They have the ability to fill in for you if you need it.
Yep. And that's why I tell you all the time, it's like, it's a privilege to be on the power play. And that's why I get so mad sometimes when when they go dry for weeks at a time. And I'm like, man, come on. Like somebody else will go and somebody else will do the job. You know what I mean?
True.
So all of a sudden, Drury does it tonight. What does he do? Well, he pots one home. And I tell you about production as well. If you don't get power play, sometimes your production can go dry. So, Jack hasn't really been brought in to be a power play guy, and people might say, well, he got a couple goals when he got here, but then he went dry. Well, yeah, like I say all the time, if you don't get on the power play, you can go dry. Absolutely. Gives you an example tonight then. He used it to his advantage, used it to feel good before playoffs about his game, and there you go. That was the whole purpose.
And then our number one star, who I think was our number one star the last time the Avs won too, Charlie Coyle. 3-point night again for Charlie Coyle. You talk about opportunity. You talk about a guy who stepped up over the last handful of games for the Avs and is producing in a way that, look, the Avs expected some production out of Charlie Coyle when they went out and traded for him. They knew he had more to give than what he was giving in Boston. But with tonight's game, that now makes 13 points in 19 games for Coyle. A guy who's lining up to be your 3C in the playoffs. If that's not depth, I don't know what is.
Well, exactly. And it's bang on what we've been saying all along. And it's bang on with Jack Drury, for example. Playoffs are starting tomorrow. Everyone's healthy. Charlie Cole's your third line center. You and I know that. I mean, that's just, everyone knows that. What does that mean? Well, that means he's probably not getting power play time, or he might. If he does, it will be limited. But he's going to be asked to be on a checking role. He's going to be asked to be on the PK. He's going to be asked to be filling different things. And that's what Charlie Coyle does. That's why he's a hot commodity around the National Hockey League. And that's why people want this guy in their lineup. And that's why the Avalanche, they paid a big price. But then again, he's under contract for next year. So there's nothing new there. Charlie Cole's a guy you can put anywhere in your lineup. And at the end of the day, chewing his gum, he's going to give you night in and night out, always the same level of hockey. And does it include points sometimes? Yeah, absolutely. Because when he's put in a different situation, he will. But if he's asked to go and be a checker, he'll be a checker, and he's going to do just an unbelievable fine job like he always does. So, yeah, this guy's been dynamite.
I know tonight's lineup is weird and they have some AHL guys in it, but let me ask you a question. Do the Avs have the most flexible lineup in the NHL?
I believe so. Again, talk about the guys right there that we just talked about, and that's and what I use that ham sandwich expression all the time of a lineup tonight. I mean,
It was they might
that
have
was a
forgot the
ham
bread on this ham
sandwich.
sandwich. Yeah.
That was a little bit of, and no offense. I mean, everybody, those are NHL players and call ups and NHL contracted guys. I'm not making fun of them. I'm saying, but it just goes to show you, and that Anaheim was trying to win as well, right? They wanted to get to 500 for the season, and
Did
they were
they?
disappointed. I mean, you do, I mean, mentally, when you look at the schedule, not the schedule, your numbers right there. You're like, hey, we're one game below 500, guys. Let's just get it. Let's get that win. We get to 500. Not saying that it's a satisfactory season for management or coaches, but it's still a number to reach. Hey, short-term goals. We always say short-term goal. Well, the short-term goal tonight for 60 minutes was, they were winning 2-0. So all of a
True.
sudden they failed, just like they failed their goal probably, and you move on. But opportunity knocks, opportunities are there, and it's always fun to see guys take it. And for sure, some of the Avs guys, and again, Wedgwood falls to another win, and man, he's been just a winning machine. You know what I mean? These past few weeks. So not saying he's your starter. That's not what I'm saying. I want chat to get going here. We're just saying it's important for him, but he's probably hopefully his last start in a little bit, right? You know what I mean? And
Yep.
then
Yep.
knock on wood, and then he feels good about his game. You got a 2-goal against game on the road, and you're on a bit of a hot streak, and that's perfect. So there you go, check box right there.
Boxes getting checked. Not that I don't know. There was a whole lot of meaningful things today. I think I said it earlier. Most important goal of the season for me was Charlie Coyle's game winner in this one. Why? Because we didn't have to go to overtime.
No, I was dying. I was like, oh, Rudo's going nuts for sure. And then I was like, oh God, yeah, that was the most fun for sure goal of the season. Absolutely. You
Hey,
always feel like it's coming.
Yeah, it's a fun time when the Avs do good things, even if they didn't care for half the game. But that's fine. You're allowed to do that when you've already locked up a playoff spot. That's the rules. So we'll see. I do want to pick your brain a little bit, over what this next week might look like for the Avs, but we are going to pay a few bills here first while you're waiting for your Uber or whatever you're getting into over there.
It's 1:15 in the morning in the East right now.
Yeah, there can't be many things going on over there, but whether you're waiting for your Uber or you're hanging out with us, it's always a good time to try and stop by Raising Cane's. I guess they probably don't have canes out there, do they? You might be SOL. You're muted, so I don't know, but it looked like you said they do. So
they do.
There
They
you
do.
There you go.
There's a gold one. There's a gold one downtown here. All gold, like all brass. It's awesome.
There you go. Go hit up Raising Cane's, even if you're picking up an Uber from the airport. Make sure you're getting in with them. You can also still get, for a limited time, you're talking about a gold Raising Cane's, you can get your golden cane plush puppy in celebration of their golden birthday. You saw it on our show a while ago. It's a big old doggy plush. It's super cool. Highly recommend. Also, their food's pretty good. You can go get yourself some delicious chicken fingers, that amazing sauce, some Texas toast, you name it all. They've got it all. Of course, the Golden Cane plush puppy will only be available for a limited time, so make sure you get with them. April 29th, the last day you can get it if you haven't gotten it. Go jump on with them. Head over to Raising Cane's and be sure to celebrate the golden year by picking up your plush puppy. And that proceeds even go to local pet organizations in your area. So it's a great deal. Raising Cane's, chicken fingers, one love. Once you got some delicious chicken fingers, then you can get on over with Bet365. Look, I wouldn't recommend betting on Avs games like this one, but someone did, and someone probably won some good money if you bet when they were down 2-0 at the start of the third period. I bet you got a pretty darn good odds add to that point. So get in with Bet365 today. Use the DNVR 365 code when you sign up. Put in $10, bet $5 on anything, win or lose with that bet. They'll give you $150 in bonus bets to play with, and that's just free money to play with. If you lose it, it's free money. If you win, hey, that's more money for you. So great either way. You can bet on the Avs, of course, with the playoffs coming up, the Nuggets playoffs too, whatever you're feeling, whatever the vibe is. You can also bet on other stuff too, like baseball, which the Rockies haven't scored a run in 3 games, so maybe take the under in Rockies games or something. I don't know. Whatever the bet is, they have great deals, great bets, great boosted bets, you name it all. In the NHL, they even have the early payout. If you bet on a team to win and they get up by 3 goals at any point, you get paid out automatically. Even if they turn around and lose the game, you still get paid out. So jump in with it. Go get with Bet365 today and get that $150 in bonus bets with the DNVR 365 code. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Of course, terms and conditions apply. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Let's start here and work our way down. The Avs are at minimum getting 5 days off. Good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a fantastic thing. It is. It really is. And I'll tell you why. This is my philosophy. I remember years that you really haven't had a lot of time to get organized. I'm talking about before the first round. As we know, in between rounds, sometimes it does. I've told you stories. We've had 24 hours one year to get ready from one play, one team to, for example, another one in 24 hours, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you have the guys come over for a quick meeting and a sauna or steamer and whatever, and then it's like see you tomorrow morning. That's if you're not traveling, right? And as you know, sometimes you got to play game 7, be packed, and and be going somewhere else after the game, and it's a logistical nightmare for team services people. But anyway, this when you have a lot of time like this, I think it's a great thing. And I know they said Natushkin and Lecky, and
Yeah.
again, I mean, we all know, like, at the end of the day, that those aren't major things. Everybody, it's just a nice way to say, like, day off. But that's in order to call up guys, right? You all know the
Yeah.
rules. Somebody has to be injured, and great. Rudo, you are injured right now. Okay, your neck hurts, so that's how it works, right? But it's 82 games. 82 games is a grueling season, as we all know. And there were times where the Avalanche, man, oh man, were they just like in trouble injury wise, right? So I do believe that they are in great shape compared to what they've been. I think what it does, look, guys didn't get on the bird this weekend. Kale, obviously Devon, Mac, all those guys, and it makes a difference. They got to stay home. They got to see Landy. They got to cheer on Landy. You're getting your body to do something else. Big difference to go 45 minutes down the road to Loveland than to get on the plane and go and play 2 games and get back and, put more taxi, more mileage on your body. So I think the Avalanche this week, I don't know what format they're going to do. Of course, 100% tomorrow will be a day off. It's not going to be a day off for the coaches, or unless they've really got a lot of stuff done beforehand, like you and I knew, and everyone on chat knew that it was going to be Dallas. So I'm sure he might say to coaches, please stay away tomorrow. You never know, right? And it's important. We talk about players all the time. Players have an easy schedule. I tell you that. Coaches, that's a tough schedule. They're there early in the morning. They're the last ones to
all
leave,
day.
and
Yeah.
oh, it's all day, and your eyes are cross-eyed sometimes. You can't see anything anymore. You're looking at so much video, and you always think you're missing something. And even though they do a good job there to separate the work and kind of spread it out, but for the Avalanche, I do think, like I don't know how they're gonna do it. Are they gonna do like two practices and a day off and two, or are they gonna do a chunk off? I don't know. I'm sure they'll get the personnel involved there too. Like, what would be the best for them? Is it for taking 3 days away from the rink? And then what does that do? Well, McKinnon and those guys, it gives them 5, 6 days away from the rink, which is awesome. It let your body heal, let your body be hungry. Now, you got to get a couple practices in there, 100%, where I tell you all the time, you don't need to practice. But this week you do. And you need to get a couple good, intense battling practices, practices where you're getting your legs from underneath you. You're getting some battle drills. You're getting some 5-on-5, some 3-on-3 down low. You're getting some body position at the net. You're getting some transition drills. So Coach Bednar and those guys obviously are Stanley Cup winning coach. They know the drills they want to hit this week, and I think that obviously in the gym it will be important to get your bodies back on track to where they need to be with some the stretching part of things and a massage and all that kind of stuff where guys are getting back on top of things. We all know that the second season, which is the postseason, there's another gear or two or three or four more gear. Uh,
Yeah.
the intensity ramps up,
Yep.
and at the end of the day, and then there'll be some tough decisions. There'll be some lineup decisions. Don't kid yourself. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And sometimes you got to put your feelings aside, and you all in it together right now to go win a Stanley Cup. And if you're asked to go and wait your turn, and so be it. That's all it is. Then you put in the hard work and pretend that you're playing and putting the effort and the skills, right? Don't forget the skills with Toby Peterson. That's been an element the last few years that teams have added, and you can see when guys are injured or been scratches and they come back in the lineup, they're really on top of their game, which is awesome. So I think it's going to be important all in all for the Avalanche to get some meetings in there, some video sessions, some goalie sessions, right? Don't forget about the goalies. And again, they're going to lay out a nice schedule for the guys there. The league should come out with a schedule when, Rudo, like probably you're not gonna know anything really how definite everything is probably
Not before Wednesday for sure.
until all the series are set and
Yeah.
then obviously we all know TV dictates everything. We all know that. And
Yeah.
then and then once you know exactly what's going on, then you'll just finalize everything and get going and then get on the plane and go to Dallas and never look back, hopefully. And this is going to be a heck of a series. It's going to be a first round for the ages, and it's going to be outstanding.
E, this is kind of a unique situation with this week for the Avs. So I wanted to ask you, how specific are they going to get with some of these practices and with some of these sessions that they're going to have with video and things like that? Because, like you said, they may have a good amount of the video work done. They knew they were likely playing Dallas a week ago. Are they going to really dive super deep in this? Is there like a risk that maybe they're going to over hyper focus on this, or do you think they'll keep it pretty surface level?
No, you can. You're right. You can. And you were talking about coaches. They're all the same. They're all the
Yeah.
same. Those guys are nuts. And I mean that with the respect of the word. Like they are over the top sometimes. And I think that you can't overhype everything. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when you go down to playoff hockey, it's really simple. It's more simple, less complex hockey because it's all about intensity. The work's been done all year long. The habits have been done all year long. There's nothing new. It's not like you're trying to learn something. But you're going to look at Dallas, and we always say that, like, who cares about the head-to-head this year? For example, you might have like 20 power plays and all that kind of stuff that you look at. But at the end of the day, only once, which was the last time you played them, that was Mikko Rantanen on their power play, right? So you could be looking at something 5 games ago for tendencies, but it's not the same personnel, right? And that's the same thing for Dallas to get ready for the Avalanche, right? Because it wasn't the same team. We all know the Avalanche have had like 9, 10 new players since, the season started. Forget about call-ups. We're talking about an overhaul of all, Charlie Coyle, Nelson, all that type of stuff. So I think that they'll get specific to some stuff. They might even get some drills where, you're doing some back and forth in a sense, some transition, and they're gonna be like telling the guys that are forechecking, this is all Dallas forechecks. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden, that's not how you forecheck, but this is all Dallas forecheck. So in that practice, you got to be on your toes because you got to pretend to be a Dallas star, right? You know what I mean? And then the guys
Yep.
that are trying to break out to break the forecheck, well, they're a Colorado Avalanche. So yeah, there'll be some specific stuff, and coaches will revert back to some of their drills that they like over the years, and again, you want to simplify things. You don't want to overcomplicate things, and all of a sudden you don't want to go out there and invent this new drill that everyone's at what is going on here? What are we doing? You know what I mean? You don't want that. And guys, you don't want guys thinking right now. You want guys, let's get out there, let's get the work done. And you get a lot as they've gotten smarter over the years, and sometimes too smart, sometimes overthinking it, but the video and all that kind of stuff, and recovery and all the wellness things that they do is just as important as getting on the ice. But we all
For
know that
sure.
getting on the ice this week will be important because really in those 7 game span, if it goes 7 games in that 2 week span, you're probably not going to have a real practice in there. So your practice time is going to get done this week, and then try to knock off that opponent, then you'll get ready for the next one. And sometimes if you have time in between, then you do have a practice and get ready. And then we all know in between like games, they will be most days off, and then they'll get a little bit of work done on morning skates just to get like a drill or two to get habits on point, and that's about it. Or power play special teams, right?
Yeah, all this to say, it's been a busy season, but at least for the coaching staff, it's not about to get any easier. It only gets harder from here for them. So a lot of work still
Yeah,
to
it's a lot of
go.
work. It's a lot of work. And people think that it's not like, yeah, and the best is the ex-players that they retire and then they get into the coaching and then they're like, huh? And then their wives are like, what's going on? You used to be home. I know. As a player is the best. You're always home. Coaches, you're never home. That's not how it works. Coaches and management, you're never home. Playing is easy. Playing is easy.
E, we're recording our playoff previews this week, so we don't have to give away too much here, but I am interested of the playoff series that we know so far. Obviously, we're going to say Colorado Dallas is the most interesting to us, but there are a couple of other ones that are locked in or essentially locked in, including LA and Edmonton going to play each other. Washington and Montreal almost certainly going to play each other. Toronto and Ottawa almost certainly going to play each other. Carolina and New Jersey going to play each other, and Tampa and Florida almost certainly going to play each other. Which one of those do you think the most interesting off the top of your head?
I'm telling you right now, I'm going with my guys besides the Avalanche. Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
I know they got to clinch tomorrow. They got the opportunity to play the, Chicago Blackhawks at home and clinch. That building will be euphoric. Ryan Green, BU Terrier, will be playing his first game. Max is going to the game, and it's got to be electric. And I do believe that these guys seem to have so much fun. They're the ones that an 8 seed going in there. And then you and I know Washington, we didn't pick them to be a 1 seed this year.
We
And
did
that's
not.
the type of team, that's the type of team that you can see an 8 seed knocking off a 1 seed. So that's the one I'm going with. I'm going to go with that matchup if that's how it plays out, knock on wood. But I'm looking forward to that. I do believe the league is more fun when the Canadians are in the playoffs, and I'm biased because that's where I'm from. But that's true. So I'm looking forward to that one. What about you? Which one are you looking for? Let me guess. Edmonton against LA for the 17th time.
No. I'm super interested in the Battle of Florida, if that one does come through. I think Tampa Bay versus
Ooh,
Florida could be really interesting. That Tampa Bay team obviously recreated itself a little bit this year, losing guys like Stamkos.
yeah.
You're having this renaissance thing happening for Hedman, kind of. Braden Point was great before, but has stepped up even more for that team. Kucherov, decent chance he should win the MVP, even though everyone hates him. Tampa's a good team. I don't think they're the team they used to be, but Florida also missing Ekblad for the first half of that series. Have some other guys that, where are they with their injuries actually? How healthy are they? I do think it could end up being a very interesting Battle of Florida series there. So
Yeah.
that's the one
I
I'm
mean, I
interested in.
Hey, listen, like I don't want to give too much away, like you said, because we'll talk about them this week. But there's some awesome, and what I mean, awesome first round matchups this year. I mean, every year, but this year it just seems like there's some like battles, like you just said.
Yeah.
Like battles. Like forget about Colorado, Dallas. That's a mammoth of a battle. But you're right. Florida battle is huge. Again, the storylines is LA finally getting home ice and killing home ice this year, going to put them over the edge against Edmonton, where they always seem to struggle and run into that wall in Edmonton and get knocked off. So I don't know. There's so many storylines. I have always said that, and I know the Avalanche are not a normal team over the years because they've go against everything I say, like the first goal of the game, and I always say the first round's the toughest round to win. That's a tough one for me. I do feel that once you get out of the first round, your pressure is kind of like, okay, we're down to 8 teams now. You know what I mean? There's 24 teams that are gone. You feel a lot better about yourself. I don't know why. That's me. But like I said, the Avalanche over the years, they always got out of the first round. They just couldn't get out of the second round until 2022, but that famous Cogliano goal, but which was like, oh my God, they're going to do this. You know what I mean? But
Darren Helm.
I'm sorry. What did I say? Cogliano? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Helm. It's late. It's
It
late.
is late. It is late for you, buddy.
I remember sitting and I was like, whoa, oh my God, they're going to do this. You know what I mean? For me, that was the moment, you know what I mean? That year that, oh my God, they're going to do this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And there's always those moments every playoff series. But like I said, the first round is so crucial. It's so crucial for franchises. It's important for core groups. It's important for, uh, you know, fans and fan base and everything. So I do believe the first round is the toughest round to win. You're going to say, well, the finals. Hey, listen, the finals, both teams are banged up. Both teams, no one's going to give up. No one's going to give up that silver thing. But I'm talking about like nerve wise and all that kind of stuff. By the time you get to the finals, you're excited. And I'm not saying you're not excited in the first round. I'm saying that the nerves take over because you don't want to be knocked off in the first round. And it's just a different mindset.
All right. I do wish we could do all of our playoff previews right away here this weeky, but the question has to be asked. Calgary still got a chance.
I
Can
know
they?
they won again tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. They need St. Louis to lose to Utah tomorrow, but if that happens, Calgary's last 2 games are against Vegas and LA, so it's not exactly the easiest path, but they could.
Yeah, but you and I know, like, if for them it really won't matter. So who are they going to dress, right? You know what I mean?
It
And
could matter for LA. It could be a meaningful game for LA. The Vegas
is
game,
it?
yeah, they won't care.
No,
Edmonton's
and then
still only 2 points back of LA, so
true. Okay, so, but there's two parts to this. Give credit to Calgary. They haven't been out of
yeah,
it, and I really thought they were dead in the water. And I was like, oh my
me too.
God, here
I
they
was
are
right.
saying,
I wrote them off.
oh.
Yeah,
I wrote them off 4 games ago. And then all of a sudden they were like, no, we keep believing. That's pretty awesome. Until you go draft and you're like, shoot, maybe we shouldn't have gone on that road if it doesn't work out, right? But that's a different story. You never think that way when you're a competitor. But that's awesome. It's been a great run. Dustin Wolf, who've been saying this on this show for 2 years now. Yeah, not a big deal. Dustin Wolf has been carrying that team into maybe the playoffs. And then the other part of this was St. Louis going an unbelievable run. You knew that once you lose one, once your bubble bursts, all of a sudden you're going to go on a bit of a losing skid, right? And that's kind of what opened the door to Calgary, right? Because
yeah.
that run wasn't going to keep going for 30 games for St. Louis. You know what I mean? It just wasn't, or 25 games. And when you're going to run like that, and you're not the Edmonton Oilers of the '80s, uh, you're getting away with games, right? You know what I mean?
Oh,
You're getting away
absolutely.
with, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, and it's just in the, oh my God, it's like, it's the blackjack run that I talk all the time. But you knew that this St. Louis team wasn't going to get that hot still. They're
Not
not that good.
sustainable. Yeah.
It's not. It's just not. And then all of a sudden you drop 3 out of 4 and you're like, whoa. And the other team is still going. You're like, whoa. So now if you're Calgary, is it sustainable for another couple games to put the pressure on? Absolutely. And Dustin Wolf, we trust.
If you say so, I'll take your word for this one. You're right about him, so I'll follow your lead
I
on the
love
Dustin
him.
Wolf train.
I love him. Friggin', I love him.
I want to circle back to something you talked about when you first jumped on here, and you talk about seizing your opportunities and things like that.
Yep.
And we're skipping ahead here. Again, we're going to talk about playoffs all week, so keep it tuned in. We'll have you covered for the week of podcasts. But I want to jump ahead a little bit here. When you get to training camp next season, regardless of how the playoffs play out this year, is this game going to stick out? Do the Avs maybe give Wyatt Aamodt an extra look in training camp? The Avs maybe take a look at someone like Jack Ahcan a little bit differently because of a game like tonight?
My answer, and you know me, it's yes, because I always firmly believe when you're giving the opportunity, and you know what I tell you all the time. I hate when guys tell you, especially working in development for so many years too, and the guys that tell you like, "But I only got 5 minutes." It's 5 more minutes than player X got that didn't get called up. So make the most out of your opportunity. And yes, absolutely it matters. Bednar talked about Amot's game, right? From the game before. And then what does he do tonight? He gets a goal, like you said. Not end-to-end rush goal, but it doesn't matter. You're on the scoreboard, and then all of a sudden, coach knows you. You're not just a name. Now he knows you. He knows how you act on the bench. He knows how you prepare. He knows how you're acting in the hallway before games. He knows what he's got now. Again, I'm sitting right here. It's 1:30 in the morning. I don't know what his contract situation is, right? Because I didn't look at it. I'm just talking out of my hat.
I'll tell you.
Sometimes it's the difference between a guy being QO'd or again, he's probably at a UFA status, but maybe that's a guy you're like, yeah, we want back. Or again, I don't know his contract situation, but I'm saying it does matter those couple games like that. You make the most out of your opportunity and you don't look back, and always remember that somebody else did not get the opportunity you got. So it does make a difference. And I do like what I saw this
For
weekend.
the record, Aamodt has 2 years left on his current deal, so the Avs got him.
Perfect. So now you know what you got, right? You know what I mean? You're talking about call-ups and, situational stuff. And, here's what I'll say. If the Avs go on a deep run, what happens usually on a deep run? You get injuries. You got long-term injuries. You got guys that are going to miss the first month, right? It's always like that because of surgeries in the summer. Well, it doesn't. Hey, we got Aamodt. There you go. We got Aamodt 2 more years. This guy can fill in. And once you fill in, we all know what that means. You might never go back. You know what I mean? You might just be there forever. I mean, that's just the way this game works. And if people think it works out of a cookie cutter book or a planning book or whatever, it doesn't. The NHL doesn't work that way. Remember, we had Eric Messier back then. The guy had been playing beer league hockey for a year and a half, playing for his corner store team. And guess what? A year and a half later, he was a Stanley Cup champ. So it's not how it works. People think that there's a manual. There's no manual. It's called opportunities. And we talk about it all the time in rookie camp. Make them make decisions. Well, here you go. Make them make decisions. So if you're given the opportunity to wear a jersey and go play on National Hockey League ice, go make the best of it. Even though we were not pleased with those games this weekend, meaning, oh God, I can't get me to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? But for a guy like that, or for guys like that, absolutely it matters. Absolutely. And some guys did pass the test. So that's fun. Good on
It's
them.
always fun. When the Avs play fun hockey, it's always fun. And that third period was fun hockey. The first 2 periods, we don't need to talk about those.
No, we need to talk about
lots more to
playoffs.
come too. Yeah, exactly. We can start talking a lot about playoffs now. So
Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs?
yeah, but the Avs are in the playoffs, so we're allowed to talk about playoffs. It's all good.
You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope
Just
we can win a
add
game.
Ready to go. That's just on our soundboard.
Yeah, I think that's from Broncos or something. It's just on the board.
But what about that guy when he did that? I mean, that was what, 20 some years ago? Like, it's still playing everywhere. Playoffs, that and practice. We're talking about practice,
Alan Iverson and Jim Mora.
Yeah.
Shout out Jim Mora one time.
Jim, there you go. Yeah. I'm not a football guy. You know that. I think that was a
Me
football guy,
neither.
is he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a football coach. Yeah,
I'm a hockey guy. I don't know. Yeah.
Look, you made it. Congratulations to the Colorado Avalanche fan base. You survived another regular season. All right. And this one was
Absolutely.
grueling. The
It
Avs
was. Yeah, it
went
was.
through it this year, man. It's,
And but a lot of great storylines, right? You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like what
yeah.
a great storyline, and just the makeover on the fly of the roster, I think was masterful. Again, we'll see what it does in the playoffs, but I'll tell you one thing. Wow, wow, you don't see this often. You know what was done here in Colorado. Um, you don't see this often again, where you have the best forward on the planet and the best deal on the planet in the same season. So we've had that again this year in Colorado. So
Yep.
fan base was outstanding. Obviously, sellouts after sellouts, and then DNVR Avalanche fans were awesome. And the one thing that we had constant with us too was Tiff. Tiff was awesome. Tiff was
Of
awesome
course.
all year long, and she makes us look interesting.
Way
I'm
better
not going
than
to
we
say
are.
smart.
For
Yeah, interesting. I'm not going to say smart or good looking, but we are interesting. But yeah, shout out to everybody. But now this is the fun season. Now this is fun. This is where the emotions take over and we start throwing stuff on the ground. We throw tantrums if we don't like something. And after a game, it's like the end of the world. And this is it. This is it. They're going to lose. You know what I mean? So it's so hard to contain your emotions. And it's hard.
I, I say the same thing about the playoffs every year. There will be tears. I don't know if they're going to be happy or sad, but there will be
Yeah.
tears. So,
Well, last night there were sad tears last night. I'll tell you that.
yeah, tough
Yeah.
night for you, buddy. It's been
Yeah.
a tough 36
Those,
hours for you right now.
those kids were devastated, man. Oh my God. But it's a one gamer, right? It's such a
Yep.
different ball game. One gamers are different ball games. So congrats to that team. They were good. They were awesome.
Eric, I'm not a superstitious person, but I'm just throwing it out there. Are you a jinx?
Why?
You go to the Frozen Four. Do
Oh
you
my
and
God.
BU lose?
I know. My
And at
two
the same
teams.
time, you weren't here for the Avs game against Vancouver, and they lost.
There you go.
So you gotta get back to Colorado, buddy. That's the rules.
Oh, I know.
Your
I'm
last
gonna
game
be
in
there every
Colorado,
game.
Avs beat Vegas. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna be there live every game, right? So it's gonna be exciting. And
yep.
AJ and the three of us, and so it'll be exciting. I'm excited for it. Postseason. I'm gonna shave. And then it'll look like this the next day, but I'll be ready to go for the first game.
Yeah, you grow the beard even faster than I do, buddy. It's crazy.
Crazy.
One statistic that I wanted to leave with that kind of speaks to the story of the Colorado Avalanche season. End of November, the Avs had played 25 games. They were 13-12. They finished the season with 49 wins. So in their last, 57 games, they won 36 of them. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
and again, I think I talked about it yesterday, right? It's that run of 12-2-2, whatever. Like after the deadline. Forget about those last 6-7 games. We all know that human nature took over a little bit. It's tough, and then obviously the lineup is not the same. Everybody's taking a rest and all that stuff. But I think that's the true Avalanche. That's the Avalanche you saw, and I think that's the Avalanche you're going to see, and that's why they won so many games after that 13-12 start. So hats off to them. It's quite of a unbelievable turnaround, but you don't realize, well, you do realize when it's over, when you look back and you're like, wow, that season could have gone down the drain real fast if it wasn't for the moves that they made. Could have really gone south, and then you'd be talking about a long summer right now tonight.
Yep. It's a team that had a lot of things that they had to battle through this year. And in the stretches of the season where they battled through them and got healthy, they proved that they are right up there at the top of the league. They
100%.
trailed off at the end of the season. They knew they were locked into the third seed. They didn't maybe give their best efforts for a lot of the end of the season. But they're going to come into the playoffs the healthiest they've been this year.
Oh yeah.
I don't
yeah.
see a reason for anything but optimism right now if you're the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh my God. I think everything's good. We'll talk about it this week. We'll talk about special teams, goaltending, forward, defense, opponents, schedule, so many things. But you have to feel good about where the Avalanche are at and what's happening and where they're going to.
Yep. Did Tiff send us into overtime already? If not, we're about to head into overtime. So if you're watching on TV, join us online at thednvr.com. Come join the conversation in the chat. Not that this overtime is going to be very long. I want to get out of here before midnight, and Eric's got to get home before 3 a.m. So we'll keep it brief. Celebrate tonight if you're the Avs, or really tomorrow when you get home. You think the team's going to get together, have a dinner or something?
100%. And it is a tradition, not just for the Avalanche, but for most teams in the National Hockey League. And I can tell you what they do here. Obviously, it's been like this forever, since 95, 96, where 100% they're going to have a team dinner with the wives and everyone involved, and asking for patience with the next few months, right? Because their lives are put on hold, and what I mean, and there's a lot that requires rest and recovery and being away, and playoffs are a different animal. So of course they're gonna have a nice dinner and everybody together, and let's go on a run. And sometimes you have a video in there, like a little playoff video, and a little theme, or what's our theme this year internally. And you got the Gabe Landeskog effect coming back here as a bomb coming in. So yeah, there's a lot that they're gonna do. Obviously, I'm not saying like they're gonna throw a party and have 30 cocktails each. I'm saying a nice dinner, everybody involved, and get together, and let's push towards that one common goal, and let's get everybody involved, and that includes the wives and the staff and everybody, and everybody pulls in together. We'll talk about it this week. I mean, there's so many things that goes into and behind the scenes that people don't see, and that you don't want to forget. Again, details matter. And why do details matter? Because everybody pulls in together, and it makes a big difference.
All right. Details do make the difference. Hopefully the Avs will have them and be ready to go. They might be off this week. We are not. We'll be live tomorrow, 2 p.m. We'll be live Tuesday. I think we're probably taking Wednesday off, but it'll still be 5 podcasts a week from us, even if the Avs are off. We appreciate all of y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.